The creation of a 23 creatures animation, Part 2, From Drawings to Animation. Hi everyone, and welcome to Part 2 in the discussion about the creation of an animation, or how we go from this to this.
And here is the programmer Ken. Now, can you explain how you do the programming of these animations?
Yeah, sure.
Is it difficult?
Not too difficult, no.
Well, the first thing I do is I try to check the pictures to see if there are any obvious errors. For instance, if there are lines that don't join, because the lines need to be closed. Sometimes June and I will have a look at this together, or sometimes I will look for them myself. And then I scan the images. On my computer, I have a folder for each creature, and I store those images into the folder. Those are the raw images. From there, I open up Paint.net and I open up each image, and then I crop the image based on the lines that were drawn by June when she used that cardboard frame. And then I clean up the image. The most important thing is to remove the background so that the background will be completely clear. And then once I've removed the background, I save it as a PNG file, because the PNG file will hold that transparent background. And then I reduce the size of the image so that it can be of reasonable clarity, but also small enough to work nicely in a mobile device. As a PNG file, it's probably still a little bit big, so then I use the website TinyPNG, which compresses PNG files and makes them much smaller. I simply load the files into TinyPNG and I get back nice copies, and they are small enough to use in the app. Alright, so at that stage then we have all 4 images created. June and I by that stage have probably worked out the sequence of the images. Sometimes we haven't though. So I will have a look at it and I will take a best guess, and I know that when I put it into the app later on, I'll show it to June, and then we can decide if we like that sequence or if we want to change the sequence. The image files are loaded into the assets folder, and they will be picked up by the program when they run. For the animation, the programming for the animation is actually quite simple. This is a view of the animation area in MIT App Inventor, which is the development environment that I use to create the program. If you look closely at the image, you will see it's quite simple. You have a procedure called Animate Pick 01. That's the pick area that is set up for the animation. I actually have a button, and the button is simply called Image 01, and then I have a button Image 02, Image 03, and Image 04. And when the creature is to be shown, Image 01 button is visible and the other 3 buttons are invisible. Before it gets to the point of the animation, I simply assign the image of the creature, those 4 images of the creature, into each one of the buttons. So you have a button with an image and it's visible, and all the other 3 are invisible. And then there is a timer, and the timer sets at half a second, and every half a second it calls this Animate Pick 1. And you can see from the procedure it's actually very, very simple. It tests to see if image 1 is visible, and at the start it is. So it makes it invisible, and it turns number 2 on. And then later it does that test again. Well, in that case, that test will fail, so then it goes on to the next one, and it checks that image 2 button is visible, and because it finds it visible, it then makes it invisible, and it turns on number 3. And so it goes through the process down to number 4, and then back into number 1. And that simply runs and runs and runs and runs like that. There are 2 options in the settings, and if the reader wants the animation to be run automatically, then this procedure will run automatically. Or otherwise, if the reader wants the animation to be run only when they actually click on the creature, then the system waits until the button is clicked, and then it runs the process. And at any time, if any one of those buttons is clicked, the animation stops and the reader can start it again. And that's how the animation is done.